Hello everyone. Today I'll show you why most teams should not start with microservices and why a modular monolith is the smartest architecture to begin with. In the next 5 minutes you'll see what it is, what problems it solves and how it looks like in real code. So most projects start in one of two bad ways. Classic monolith, where everything is coupled, one giant codebase, no boundaries, or straight into microservices, where you have network calls, DevOps hell, distributed failures, huge cost. Both extremes hurt productivity. What we actually want is clear boundaries, independent business logic, but without the operational complexity. So what is a modular monolith? A modular monolith is still a single process, single deployment, just like a monolith. But internally, the system is split into real modules. For example, listings, reviews, accounts, payments. Each module has its own API, owns its own data, exposes only what other modules are allowed to use. So it behaves like microservices, but runs in the same process. Let's take a look at a real example. Imagine a real estate platform. Let's say you want to show a listing with its reviews. What you don't do is listing query the reviews database, shared repositories, ORM joins across modules. What you do is call listings API, get listings, call reviews API, get reviews for that listing, and combine them. So even inside one process, modules talk only via their public APIs. That discipline is what makes extraction into microservices later actually possible. So let's take a look at this demo project where every module is structured the same way. So we have accounts module, listings module, reviews module. Inside each module, we have the same structure. We have the API class library, which is the module's public interface. Let's take a look at one example here. So here we have only one endpoint, settings, which lives inside the accounts module. So everything related to accounts in our application lives inside the accounts module. Okay, we have applications class library where the use cases live. So we have contracts, we have DTOs, we have extensions, and we have features where we have vertical slice architecture where each feature lives inside its own folder. We have infrastructure and domain. So domain is domain data. Like account, we have validation if needed here, and we have the infrastructure for persistence and external services. So each module is basically a mini application inside the monolith. Let's take a look at listings module. Here we have a few endpoints. One is to get a listing by ID, to get listings by author ID, create a new listing. Everything related to listings lives inside listings module. Okay. But I don't see any reviews here. How do we get the reviews? Do we get them from within here? No, that's the idea. We need to have clear boundaries. Listings is one domain of our application. Reviews are another domain. And that's why we have reviews module. Everything related to reviews, creating a review, listing all reviews by a listing ID, lives inside the reviews module. Let's take a look. Here is how we get reviews by listing ID from here. Okay, let's say I'm opening a listings page, some house in California, let's say. Okay, this is how we do it. We first get the listing from listings module, and then we get all the reviews using this endpoint, and we combine them in the UI. That's how you do it, because the idea is to make things as decoupled as possible. You don't want to couple modules. Coupling modules will make it worse for you if you start distributing your application later on. You want each module to be a separate application, and they all need to communicate via their public APIs only. So for example, listings module should not query the reviews database to get reviews. It only works with public API of the reviews module. And that's pretty much how you do it. So we have the reviews, we have the listings module, we have the accounts module. Later on, we can add payments. We need to create a new module, payments module. And let's say your application becomes successful. Well, if you want to extract listings, it's easy now because Listings is its own application within the whole monolith application, and you just extract it, and instead of using in-process calls, you start using HTTP calls. That's it. And that's why Modular Monolith is a great starting point for most of the projects. You start simple, you keep clean boundaries, you ship fast, you avoid microservices complexity, and when your application grows, you can extract only what truly needs to scale. You should not start building the next Netflix. Start with a basic streaming app, then add features one by one. And if your application turns out to be the next Netflix, then with this architecture, you can start distributing it into separate microservices, and that's it. That's how real systems are built. And that's why I say, stop building monoliths, build modular monoliths instead.